Welcome to Hurd Mentality. I am Lamar Hurd, and I'm excited to be joining you again after a couple of weeks off. We're bringing you a brand new episode today, and this episode happens to be our season 1 finale. So we have 3 guests joining the show. First time we've done it. Later on, we will have Tyler Harris, General Manager of My Fit Foods, to talk about a lot of healthy eating options his organization is providing within the area. Before we get to Tyler, we'll talk to Ryan Slider, founder of SS Visual Works, to hear about the great things he's doing in the sports community. But before we get to those two, I'd like to bring on my first guest. She is the founder and president of With Love. And last month was Foster Care Awareness Month. So let's start June off right by still honoring and celebrating the people in her field doing the great work that they're doing. Joining me now, Allie Roth. Allie, thanks for being a part of the show.
Lamar, it is so good to see you. Thanks for having me on the show today.
It's truly my pleasure because I've gotten a chance to know a lot about your organization over the last year or so. But to get things kicked off, can you tell us what is the mission of With Love?
So at With Love, our goal is to support foster families with kids ages 0 to 6 and support them with gear, toys, and clothing that exude dignity and love.
So what made you want to start the organization?
So for years, I was a teacher in the Beaverton School District, and I loved it. It was fantastic. I love my kids. And over the years, I started to have kids in my classroom that were in foster care. And so my husband and I didn't know much about foster care, but we knew that we could provide the soccer cleats, or we could provide the jackets, or the various little things that students need. And when we became pregnant with our second child, I realized, wait a second, if I'm going to go on maternity leave, I'm leaving these kids alone, and these kids in foster care sometimes move home to home. And so I just was one more adult leaving their life. So I decided to come back and start tutoring them on Wednesday afternoons. So I would come with my baby. One of my staff members would take the baby for a little bit, and I would have a little tutor business with those children. And what happened was, in the afternoons, the caseworkers a lot of times would come pick up the children. And I started to get to know the younger siblings. And it dawned on me for the first time, hold on here. Who's taking care of their jackets? Who's taking care of the shoes that they need? My husband and I have been just doing the older children, but really hadn't thought about the younger children. When you see a hole in the community, which is what I found, I realized, well, instead of just starting a nonprofit, because that's not always the best solution, for about a year, a couple of friends and I went to different nonprofits. Some of them were clothing ones, some of them were for abuse, some of them were for foster care, and just learn best practices. I was really wanting to focus on those kids that were under school age. That was a pillar for my, quest. The other thing was kids who are in foster care go into foster care by no fault of their own. And so whatever we were going to give them, I wanted to reflect dignity. In the state of Oregon, 60% of the kids that go into foster care have experienced neglect. And so that is like one of the things on top of a lot of times many others that they've experienced. And so the stuff that we give these children tells their story. The other thing that I really started to feel as a mom myself is that I loved serving my community, being involved, but there wasn't a lot of places I could do that as a mom, especially bringing my children. And so With Love has always been very family focused because we want these people that are very educated, that are very smart, that have little ones that can actually come and use their talents and gifts there. The other surprise that I've really loved learning over the years is just how many retired people are out there that have so much life experience, that are very good at their old job, and they're retired and they have a little free time. And so we've really been able to build a volunteer force at With Love to grow that. So while we're a pretty small grassroots organization, we're 7 years old now, and those pillars of dignity and volunteers and inviting the community in, we know that everybody's not supposed to be a foster parent. However, we can give our time, we can give our resources, we can give our finances to make a difference in the state of Oregon, because right now it is needed more than ever.
Wow, what started as a thoughtful dream in your home has now turned into this full-blown operation. And with that, Allie, operationally, how does With Love work?
So operationally, I have a foster mom myself, just to let you know. I've had, my family's had 9 children in 3 years. We do this through respite care, and we're certified ourselves. And we specifically have a niche of drug-affected infants that come to our home. So I'm going to sort of walk you through my experience as a foster mom. So when I get a call from DHS, I typically have about 1 to 3 hours before our new family member joins our life. So if you can think about it, a lot of moms that are getting ready to have a baby, they have, a couple months to prepare, right? Some even have 9 months. So when I get that call, I just know a little one's coming. It could be coming from like a children's hospital. It could be coming from the hospital. It could be coming from another placement that wasn't maybe the right fit. And so it's a scramble. So once the request is in, a foster parent says, okay, this is what I need. A volunteer comes and takes that and says, okay, we didn't just ask what age is the child, what do you need? We ask questions like, what's their favorite color? What's the character? What would give them joy? What do you need in this specific season? So we don't have like a tub that says baby boy age 2. What we have is now we have clothes and items that now we are going to curate a specific delivery for that little baby. So we will go through and say, oh, they like Thomas the Train. Okay, and we're going to look for that. Oh, maybe they don't like snaps and they just like to have various rubber, bands that don't have snaps and buttons because of a texture thing or a sensory issue. Some kids are a little developmentally delayed that need a couple more things to help them with that stimulation. So we pull just for that child. Once that volunteer has pulled for that child, the average delivery for us is $1,400 for that delivery. Again, average. Some families are bigger, some are smaller. Then we have a delivery driver that comes in. We are located in Tigard, Oregon, and so we deliver then to a 30-mile radius from our warehouse. If they live, for example, in Bend or Salem or at the beach, we have a drive-through service. And so things are a little different right now with the coronavirus going on, but typically you could drive through on Wednesdays and Fridays and you can pick up your curated delivery if you live outside of our delivery area. And then, as you know, kids are growing and seasons are changing. And so a foster parent can reach out every 90 days to get new items for that child.
Allie, I appreciate the mindfulness you have towards the diversity, both in our world and specifically within the foster care system. And I know that recently you had a class for parents to learn more about textured hair. Can you tell me a little bit more about what went into that?
Last July, we had an amazing lady. Her name was Lisa Rivas, and she came in and did a class, and it was fantastic. We had a hair model come in, and it was Basics 101 of textured hair. And so we learned how to do some conditioning and taking proper hair care products that would be great for textured hair. People loved it. So we thought, let's get some more people educating our parents because, as we talked about, dignity is a cornerstone. Different ethnicities, making sure that they have the right products is very honoring, and that's dignity right there. So right before the shutdown happened in early March, we put up a class. It was 25 people, and within one day, it was completely full. So Atoya from the Atoya Hair's Curly Hair Studio, she hosted it for us. And parents came in, they took the class, they learned 101 basics with washing and the right products. And then at the end of every class, we make sure parents walk out with handouts so they know some best practices, but also the products so they can actually use them. So, the education is great, but if you don't have the right products to actually go home and use it, it's not very helpful. So at With Love, when you're making your custom request, you can tell us if you have textured hair needs. Also, we really like to make sure, if at all possible, that our items can reflect the children that are getting them. And so you're able to say, oh, we're looking for this or we're looking for that. And so we can get the dolls and the books and the hair products that reflect these children, because we really believe at the end of the day that these children are so important and such an important part of our community. And we want to show them that respect and dignity. And I don't know if I told you this earlier, but we don't say foster children, we say children in foster care, because we really want to have the children be the focus and not their situation. And so that whole piece of dignity and having that child reflected is really important. And part of it is someone like me that I just didn't know how to do my nephew's hair. And so it's that learning process to help us foster parents that are really trying the best that we can, but we might not know all the answers.
Children in foster care. I like that. I'm going to apply that. So thank you for that educational lesson. Allie, thank you so much for all the work that you're doing daily. I know that you are consistently this person that you are right now every single day, and there's so many kids and families that are benefiting from it. So thank you.